Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Vicky and today you're joining me to make what is essentially this little component, this little oval cabochon, little points on it component. And I've used this component to make up this beautiful bracelet, which is really stunning on and ideal for this time of year, because if you've got any parties coming up, you might be looking for a nice piece of jewelry for. This is super sparkly but quite quick to make, and it's quite simple as well. There's not crazy amounts of steps to it, and as you can see, I've made these matching earrings to go with the bracelet, and today we're going to be making one of the earrings. Now all these colours that I've used here on the bracelet and earrings are from my Beading School Academy box, which is currently the Celestial Lantern theme, and the themes change every 2 months. So what might be the theme now, if you're watching this video in like 2 months time, it'll be completely different. But all the components, all the beads are also sold separately, so I will link them all down below so you can just go in and check that out. But I'll also leave a link for the box, because the box is fabulous. You get so many components in it, loads of different unusual components that you possibly wouldn't necessarily just go out and buy. They're all curated to go very well with each other, and it's just fabulous. I've made several pieces from it, so I can't show you the box because I don't really have crazy amounts left, but what I can show you is just some of the other things that I haven't yet to use. Really loving these little rectangle stones, and you may recall, if you've been following my channel for a while, I made some earrings and I think I called them Tutti Frutti. I want to say that's what I called them, but I will leave the link to that video as well, because it uses these rectangle stones, and I'm thinking I might make myself a pair more suited to the winter season. But there's just lots and lots of things in the box. Oh, one more that I've just forgotten to put on. That little star pendant is gorgeous, and there is a little pearl that sits in between it. Excuse me, I had a bit of a cold. It's still rearing its ugly head, unfortunately. So yes, the box is fabulous. I would highly recommend it. There's lots of nice things in it, and today we're going to make something from it. One thing I will say about the materials I have used though is this little 2.8mm rhinestone, the Preciosa Rhinestones. The colour I've used on the bracelet and the earrings wasn't in the box, because I actually used all the ones that came in the box, which are the same size, in this crystal AB colour on this pendant, so which I also made all from the box, and you can see all the different materials on it. This gorgeous 27mm cabochon. So that's one of the signature jewels, because with the Academy you get lots of chance to bead projects with Erica, who runs Beading School, and there's extra little projects you can buy tutorial wise, signature jewels and whatnot, so definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. But let's get back to the project today, and let's take a little look at what we need. Okay, so on my mat today I'm using a size 11 Delica bead, a size 15 seed bead, a 2.8mm Preciosa Rhinestone, or Rose Monty they could be called. Sometimes they're called that if they're a different brand, but these are the Preciosa ones. And I've got this 8x10mm oval cabochon in its setting, in this little gold setting. I've got a couple of pairs of ear wires, or a pair of ear wires, even not a couple of pairs, a pair of ear wires. I have my size 12 little bit bent needle, and I'm using 6-pound Fireline. As I said, along with the link to the box and all of the beads, I will leave all the amounts down below as well. It doesn't take crazy amounts of beads, and it is simply just Delica's seeds and these couple of little components. So you may find that you already have Delicas and seeds in your stash, and you might just need the oval components, but obviously you can check out my colours as well. I'll leave all the what colours I've used, and you can go have a little mooch at them too. So that's everything we need, and we should get started. Okay, so I'm starting with probably less than half a wingspan of thread. Each component only takes a small amount of thread, so you won't need like crazy amounts, but you can work with what you're comfortable with and just see how that all comes together at the end. If you're making a bracelet, I would suggest making each component and joining them as you go. That way you can kind of see how many you need, and it just works out easier that you can then know if you just need maybe an extra couple of links on the end rather than one more component. You can do that, and it just makes it a bit easier for size wise. So starting with my small piece of thread, I'm going to pick up my 8x10mm cabochon, and as you can see, it's got these holes in the setting. There we go, come back on camera. These holes in the setting, and I'm going to take my needle horizontally across the cabochon through two of the holes. Ooh, through two holes. Let me just get back on there. There we go, like so. With my oval cabochon is vertical, so there we go. You can see I've gone through the two holes. Now you could add a stopper bead here if you wanted to, but I don't tend to. I tend to just hold the end of my thread. It does tighten up quite quickly, and you don't really need to add one if you don't wish. So I'm just going to pull my thread through, and I'm going to leave about a 10cm tail to weave in later. And now I'm going to pick up 7 size 11 Delicas. So that's 7 Delicas. And I'm coming out to this side of my cabochon. So I'm just going to take my needle back through the same two holes I've just gone through originally. So straight back through. So kind of coming round on yourself. And I'm just going to pull that through. And as you can see, these 7 Delicas now sit over the top of the oval cabochon. And I'm just going to turn to the side, and I'm coming out of this side of my cabochon. Just going to put that tail there like so. I'm now going to pick up 3 size 11 Delicas. So that's 3. And I'm going to go down. So here I am coming out of this hole here. I want to go through this hole and straight into the next one on the other side, like so. And I'm going to pull through. And now you can see that them 3 new Delicas are now sat along the side of my cabochon. So I've got the 7 over the top and the 3 down the side. We're going to pick up the 7 again. So 7 Delicas. I'm coming out of this side of my cabochon, and I'm just going to come around again and go through the 2 holes that we've just used again, like so. And pull through. And then them new 7 Delicas are now sat on the other side of the oval. So we've got them, then the 3, and then the other 7. And you probably guessed we're going to pick up 3 size 11 Delicas, and just turning it. It's a little bit fiddly to start with. I'm coming out of this hole, and I want to go straight into that hole and right the way through to the opposite side. And this will cause them last 3 Delicas to sit along the side of your oval cabochon, like so. I'm just going to take that tail out the way so it doesn't get caught. Give it a little pull so everything's in nice and tight. And that's how your work should look now. You should have a set of 7 on the top, set of 7 on the bottom, and 2 sets of 3 on each side. Set of 3 on each side. I'm now going to take my needle through the first, that 3 Delicas here. So the 3 Delicas on this side, taking my needle straight through it. So I'm coming out of this hole of the cabochon and going through them 3 Delicas, and pull through. I'm now going to pick up 1 size 11 Delica, and I'm going to go through the next 7. So through the 7 that are sat over the top. So through 4 and through the next 3. Okay, so that's the new one I've just added, sat there between that set of 3 and this set of 7. I'm going to repeat that again. I'm going to pick up one size 11 Delica, excuse me, one size 11 Delica, and I'm going to go through the next 3 Delicas on the side, the next set of 3, and I'm going to pull through, and that new one is now sat between the set of 7 and the set of 3. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to pick up another Delica and go through the next set of 7. So coming out of the third one of the 3, go through the next set of 7, so through 4, pull through and go through 3. So that is the set of 7. And I've got one more to do. So I'm going to pick up one size 11 Delica, and I'm going to go through my 3 Delicas on this side. And I now should have a total of 24 beads. 24, 7, 14, 20, 24 beads. Yeah, so you should have 24 Delicas around your oval cabochon. Now, it's imperative that we do this next piece, because if you go any further than the next bead along, so we're going to step through into that first single Delica that we've just added, the first single one. We're just going to go straight into that one and stop here, because if you go any further along, the rest of it'll knock the whole earring, the whole component out as you go on to add more rows. You'll see what I mean as we go, but it is imperative that you just come out of this first single Delica that we just added in that last round and pull through. Okay, so you can see I'm coming out of that first single Delica. We're now going to work in peyote stitch, so we're going to pick up one size 11 Delica. If you think of this as your base row now, I'm coming out of this one, I'm going to miss the next one along and go through the one after, like so. So you can see I've come out of this one, I'm missing the next one along, and I've gone through the one after, and I'm going to pull that through. And this new Delica we're adding is now sitting pretty much on top or side by side with this Delica that we missed. And I'm just going to pull it tight. And if I turn it to the side, you can kind of see that a bit better. If you pull it tight, you've got now this it's like a little brick wall. So that's the one we came out of, that's the one we missed, and that's the one we went through. And this is our new one here. And I'm going to do that again. I'm going to pick up one size 11 Delica. I'm coming out of this one here. I'm going to miss the next one along and go through the one after, like so. And I'm going to pull through. And I'm just going to flip it up so it sits on top of that Delica that we've just missed. And I'm just going to complete that all the way around, just adding in single Delicas. So pick up one, miss one, go through the next one, all the way around. Okay, and I'm just about to add in my last size 11 Delica to my bezel. So I'm coming out of this one, I'm going to miss the next one along, and I'm going to go into that very first Delica that we started from when we added our first Delica. So we came out of that one to start with, we added that one, we missed that one, and we went through that one. I'm going to go straight into that first Delica that we started from, like so, and pull through and push them up. So they're all sitting nice and tight. Give it a little tug, make sure it's all nice and tight all the way around. And that's how your work should look now. So if you turn to the side, you will see that we have now 3 rows of Delicas. So when you do peyote, when you've completed that first row, even though you've only added 1 row onto the top of another one, the way it sits gives you 3 rows. So we've got this bottom row, this middle row, and this top row, or row 1, 2, and 3. You see they go like, as I said, like a brick wall. So duh, duh, duh. And that's our 3 rows of Delicas. So we're going to take our needle up into that first Delica next. So we're coming out of this one essentially on the middle row, but we're going to go into the one on the top row, straight into that one right next door, and pull through. So you should be coming out of this one here on this top row. And again, it's imperative you're coming out of this one, because this will help with the orientation of the beads as we go forward. We're now going to pick up one size 15 seed bead, coming out of this Delica on the top, and I'm going to go straight into the next Delica along on that top row, on that first row, and pull through. Don't get caught. And as you can see, this new 15 is now sat between these two Delicas. And I'm going to repeat that again. I'm going to pick up one size 15 seed bead, and I'm going to go straight into that next Delica along on that top row. I'm going to pull through. And again, don't get caught. And that's how your work should look now. And we're going to repeat that all the way around, just adding in size 15 seed beads. And I'm just about to add in my last size 15 seed bead, and I'm going to go straight into that Delica that we started the round from. So when we added our first 15, I'm going straight into that one and pull through and pull tight. And that's how your work should look now. You should have this lovely little bezel, and even that on its own is just really quite cute. Your cabochon is now encased in this little beaded bezel, this little beaded cup, so that's really quite sweet. Okay, so I'm now coming out of this Delica still on the first row, this very first one we started from, and I'm going to take my needle into the next Delica along on the middle row. So coming out of this one, straight into that next one along on that middle row. And again, this is where we want to start, because we're going to now add this first like arch, and we want it to sit in its right place essentially. So that's where you should be coming out of this. If you look at the top of your oval, of your oval bezel, you have this bead here, which is like the middle bead of your oval. So we're coming out of the one just next to it, this one here. That's the one we're going to be coming out of. So you should really have like three middle beads that sit on the top of your oval. So straight into that one, which is next to the one you're coming out of now, and pull through. And now I'm coming out of that middle one. I'm now going to pick up two size 11 Delicas, three size 15 seed beads, and two Delicas. So two Delicas, three 15s, two Delicas. I'm going to miss the next bead along. So I'm missing this one, that middle one, the one that sits basically in the center of your oval. That wasn't very central. So I'm going to miss that one, and I'm going to go through the following bead, and I'm throwing all my beads off. So coming out of this one, missing this one, and going through this one here. So if I pull that thread up, you can kind of see which one I've missed. And I'm just going to pull through and pull tight. And if you need to, give it a little squidge so that it kind of sits in more of a point. But don't worry, because we're going to go through them all again to make them a bit more neat, so don't worry about that. I'm now coming out of this Delica on the middle row, the one we've just gone into, and I'm going to pick up three size 15s, and I'm just going to go straight into the next Delica along on the middle row. So I'm coming out of that one, just going straight into the next one along, not missing any, and that's on the middle row. Only use the middle row and pull tight. And that's how your work should look now. And then I'm going to repeat this one again. So I'm picking up two Delicas, three 15s, and two Delicas. I'm going to miss the next one along on the middle row and go through the one after. So coming out of that one, missing that one, and going through the one after on the middle row, or row 2, whichever one you want to call it, and pull through. And again, you can see we've got our next little point. I'm going to pick up three 15s, and I'm going straight into the next Delica along on the middle row, not missing any, straight into that one, and pull through. And that's how your work should look now. So we need to do another two of the big ones and another two of the small ones. So we're basically just going to repeat from here to here on the rest of your bezel, but we'll do it together. So but you can carry on if you want to, quicker than me. So this is my next one is 2 Delicas, 315s, 2 Delicas, coming out of this one, missing the next one and going through the one after on the middle row. And pull through and give them a little squidge again, make them sure they're all sitting nice. Pick up your 315s and go straight into the next one along on the middle row, not missing any. Okay, they need a little squidge, give them a little squidge. And then 2 Delicas, that one's broken, let's not use that one. 2 Delicas, 315s and 2 Delicas. Coming out of this one, I'm going to miss the next one along and go through the one after, like so. And pull through. And then pick up 315s, and this is our last one, and go into that very first Delica that we started from. So where we added our first 2 Delicas, we're going straight into that Delica, like so, and pull through and pull tight. And that's how your work should look now. Essentially all the beads that we needed to add on the components are on now, so we're just going to go through and tighten it up a little bit. So I'm going to take my needle up through the first 2 Delicas and the first 15 of that first set. So through the first 2 Delicas and that 15, and pull through. I'm now going to miss the middle 15 of that set of 3 here that were with our Delicas and go through the one after, and that's just to help it pop. Just pulling through that one. If it decides it wants to sit over the bead, just give it a little wiggle and then give it a little pull, and that'll make it pop, as you can see. And now I'm going to go through the next 2 Delicas into the Delica on the bezel, because we're using all the beads as we've used before, apart from these central ones on the bigger points. They're the only ones we're missing. So I'm going to go through the next 2 Delicas and pull through into the Delica on the bezel. Be careful not to get caught around any of your beads. There we go. And then I'm going to go through my 315s. I'm not going to miss any of them, just going through them as they are. Through the next Delica on the bezel, the same ones we've used when we've been adding the beads, just using them again, going through them again. And then up the 2 Delicas and into that first 15. We're going to miss the next 15 along and go through the next 15, the 2 Delicas, and so on. Again, if it sits, I shouldn't be sitting, just give it a little wiggle and pull tight, and it'll make it pop like so. So we're just going to continue that all the way around, just going all through the beads again that we've just used, except these middle ones on the bigger points. We're going to miss the middle 15 on each big point, just to give them that little bit of a pop. So carry on with doing that now all the way around. Okay, so I've gone all the way around and done all my little points. Now I'm making the earring component for this one. So if you come out of a side big point, so with your oval stone horizontal, you come out of the point above, essentially the 15, the middle 15, we're now going to add on this little earring loop in the earring. It's very simple. We're just going to pick up 2 size 11 Delicas. I'm going to go through the loop of my ear wire and pick up 2 size 11 Delicas. So coming out of that middle 15 here, I've picked up 2 size 11 Delicas, the ear wire, and 2 size 11 Delicas, and I'm just going to go straight back into it from the other side and pull through. So you've now got your ear wire attached to this little loop, but just to tighten it all up, I'm going to go through my first Delica of that little loop, and I'm going to pick up 115, and I'm going to go through the next Delica along the ear wire and the next Delica along, so essentially like that. So coming out to that first Delica, pick up 115 and go through Delica, ear wire, Delica, and pull through. And now you can see that little 15 kind of pops between these two. I'm just going to repeat that again. I'm going to pick up 115 and I'm just going to go coming out of this Delica here. I'm going to straight into the next one and into the 15 that we started from originally, and pull through and pull tight. You want to make sure that you're, depending on which ear wire you're using, because if you're using an ear wire that you want like a hook, you, instead of using the ear wire here, you probably just want to put another 15 there and then just put the hook through the loop. But because I'm using this little ear stud one and the hoop is tiny, the little loop is tiny, it's better to use it instead of the 15 here. So, and also you don't want it to be doing that. You don't want it to be hanging so it's holding the thread. You want it to either sit in between, or these were a little bit bigger, so they've kind of sat over. They're inside the loop, but they're kind of sat over the two Delicas. But I tried putting a 15 there originally and it didn't work. It just kind of made the ear wire sit off to the side, so that's why I've left it out there. I'd say now to reinforce that loop again, just to make it nice and tight, so as I said, you don't have that little tightness here. But I'm going to whip my needle off and put that to one side while I just attach it to the other component that I've made. So once you've made that component, make, especially for the earrings, just make 3 more so you can attach them all together. And I'm now going to return to my black component and leave the white one there. And on this one, you can see I'm coming out of the middle 15 with the oval stone vertical. So I'm coming out of this middle 15 because if you look back to these, you can see they're not orientated the same way. That one's horizontal and that one's vertical. Just gives it a little bit more of a design thing for the earrings. But for the bracelet, they are all orientated the same way. So they're all horizontal, but with the, well, technically they're all vertical because I've added the rhinestone between each one, looking at it that way. And I will show you how to do this now. We're going to add this part to the earring here, and it'll be the same if you're making the bracelet. You just want to have the orientation of your components all the same way. So rather than it being one horizontal and one vertical, just have them all vertical or all horizontal, whichever way you want to look at it. So keep that in mind. But for the earrings, as I said, I've got one horizontal, one vertical, and I am coming out of this middle 15 here, like so. And I'm going to pick up 115, 2 Delicas, 115, and I'm going to drop them down to meet my 15. I'm now going to pick up my other component, the one I've just added the ear wire to, and because I'm coming out of this side of my beads, I'm going to take my needle into the middle 15. So we use that one up there, so the one that's facing it, I'm going to go into it the same side as the way I'm coming out on the other component. So straight into there, and pull this through and it'll come back up now. And that's where we should be now. So you should have your 15 Delicas, 15 coming out of this one, and we're going to go into that one, same side, and we're going to pick up 115, 2 Delicas, 115, and we're going to go back into that 15 that we started from on that bottom component of our earring, and pull through and pull tight. So now you have the join, the start of the join. I'm going to take my needle through the first 15 added and the first Delica, through the 15 and through the Delica, like so, and pull through. So you should be coming out of the Delica, the first one of that set of 2 Delicas we've just added. We're going to pick up 115, and I'm going to go through the next Delica, through the 15, like so, pull tight, and this new 15 sat between them 2 Delicas now. And I'm just going to weave through my beads to come out of the first Delica on this side. So I'm going to go through the 15 on the component, through the new 15 and the first Delica here, and I'm just going to pick up one 15 and go through the next Delica, through the 15 and back into the 15 on the component, on the bottom component, and pull through like so. And now I'm going to go through the 15 and through that first Delica again, and just going to stop at that Delica. So through that 15 and through that first Delica again. And I'm going to turn this because it's easier to work this way. Okay, so we're now going to add our rhinestone. So I'm going to pick up my rhinestone. I'm only going to use even though it has like a little cross on the back, as you can see, I'm actually only going to use the one hole. I'm not going to join it with the two holes, just the one. So coming up that rhinestone, coming out of this Delica, I'm going to drop that down. Okay. And I'm coming out of this Delica here with my needle facing the 15. I'm going to go into the Delica facing it, so this one, with my needle coming away from that middle 15, so like that. So you're kind of doing a over and pull through. And yeah, that'll look, you'll be able to see that a bit more now as I just kind of move that rhinestone out the way, so you can see how I've done that, or not, because it doesn't want to show. Move out the way that 15. The rhinestones sometimes get caught on your thread, but you can kind of see that there's a thread coming out of here and thread going into here, and just pull that tight. We're going to weave back round to that Delica we've just started from, so go through the 3 15s, 1, 2, 3 15s, and into that Delica again, just the Delica. It also wants to take you into the 15, but don't go, just go into the Delica. So that one again, where we started from when we added that rhinestone. Just going to turn. I'm going to go back up the rhinestone, just the rhinestone for now, like so, and pull through. And then I'm going to go into the Delica that is diagonal from the one I'm coming out of. So into this one here, and pull through. And essentially we're joining this rhinestone to all 4 Delicas, but on the inside of the Delicas rather than on the outsides of them. I'm now going to weave through my next 3 15s, so through them 2, into that one, and then into this Delica, the last Delica we haven't used yet for adding the rhinestone, into this one, and pull through. Watch you don't get caught around your components, it will try, especially these little prongs. And now I'm just going to take my needle back through the rhinestone, because I'm coming out of this Delica, back through the rhinestone, like so, pull through, and into, so if I've come out of this one here, I'm going to go into the Delica facing. So I've come out of that one, I'm going to go into this one, not diagonal, facing, and pull through, and go through a couple more beads as well. And there we go. And that is your rhinestone now connected. As I said, you can see the different orientation of the stones for the earring, but if you're doing it on the bracelet, you might want to do them horizontal, vertical. You could do that, that's completely up to you, it's your design choice. But I've made them all the same way. So you would just essentially join into this 15 here when you're doing it. So that is the earring complete. You just need to weave in your threads, and I'm very chuffed with these little earrings. They're so cute. I love the whole component. They're very light, and though they look quite intricate, overall it's quite an easy design. Once you get into the peyote, you'll be swimming. It'll be fab. So the last thing I'm going to show you, and I'm going to show, I know I've already completed the earring, but I'm just going to whip off this this ear wire part to show you the last part of the bracelet, which is, as you can see, I have one of the little rhinestone components and there was nothing to join it to, so because it was at the end. So if you need this little piece like I did, I'll just quickly show you how to do that. So let me refeed my needle. Okay, so I mean, you may have finished you may really want to do it, and you might be finished now, so you know that you're done. But if you're doing this bracelet, this is how to just to finish off the end. As we did before, we're going to pick up 115, 2 Delicas, but instead of picking up 115 and going into a 15 on the next component, we're going to pick up 3 15s. Which will essentially, if you look at it this way, you've got your 15, 2 Delicas, 15. That middle one would have been the one you would have gone into on the component, and then this would have been the other 15 you've picked up before the next 2 Delicas and the 15. And then we're just going to go back into that 15 we've started from, like so. And that's how your work should look. So if you think that this one here and this one here are your component single 15s, like so. And then I'm going to go through the same way I've just done making this part here. I'm going to go through the first 15 and the first Delica. Like so. And I'm going to pick up 115. And then I'm going to go through the next Delica and then through the next 2 15s. Like so. Now, I actually added the clasp loop from here before going on to add the next 15 on this side. So all I did was I picked up 6, 5, how many I picked up? Let's have a look at the bracelet. 5 Delicas. And coming out of this middle 15 of this little set of 3 here, I'm just going to go straight back into it from the opposite side, like so. To create my loop. And I'm going to go into the first Delica. And then I'm going to add a 15 between each Delica. So pick up 115, go straight into the next one, and pull through and tight. So you can see it pops between that Delicas. And then I'm going to do that 3 more times. Pick up 1, go straight into the next one. Make sure they sit nice. Pick up 1, go into the next one, and then pick up 1 and go into the last Delica and back into the middle 15 of that set of 3 15 that we added before. So there's your clasp loop. And then we're just going to go through the next 15 and into that first Delica of that set of 2 on this side. And then we're going to pick up the 115. And we're going to weave through our beads, through the next Delica, through the 3 15s and into the first Delica on that side again, because we're going to go and add our rhinestone exactly the same way as we did before. Oh, lost my needles come off. Always the way when you're working with smaller pieces of thread, your needle does tend to jump off. Okay, here we go. So I'm coming out of my Delica, and then I'm just going to add the rhinestone now. So picking up my rhinestone, going into the Delica facing the one I'm coming out of, and through the 15s to go back into the Delica we started from. It's exactly the same way as we've just done it on this part here. And then through the rhinestone and into the Delica diagonal to the one we're coming out of. And through the 3 15s. And then into that last Delica that we haven't used yet, through the rhinestone, and then into that Delica facing the one we've just come out of. And there we go. And that's essentially the end of our bracelet before adding a jump ring and your clasp. Okay, so that's everything. I'm not going to keep this one, so I'm going to take that apart, and I might make a nice little pendant to go with, because these are the last two I had out of my box. It came with 6 of each of the ovals, so if you can get a whole set from 2 packets of stones and some Delicas and 15s, some little rhinestones, then that's quite a good deal, I'd say. That's quite a lot of nice little things to have. So if you've enjoyed this video, excuse me, I'm losing my voice now, I'd be much appreciated if you would go and subscribe to my channel, drop it a like if you've enjoyed it. I'd love to see what colours you use. I know that Beading School sell quite these in lots of other colours, not just the black and white, so I'd like to see what other colours there are that people use. That would be fab to see. If you want to tag me in anything on social media, all my social media links are down below. And yes, that's everything that we need to do today. Thank you for joining me. Have a lovely rest of the day and take care. Bye now.